Live streaming
is on.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and well, good evening too for those that are around the world. We're here on another Friday with The World From Here. I'm Dan Gay. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of BlockCerts Blockchain, and we have a very special thing that we're going to talk about today, which is the Singapore Fintech Festival. And we're joined here by Daniele Mincy, who's the president of Fusion STX. Good morning, or to you, good evening, Daniele.
Hey Dan, how you doing? I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for having me
doing
here.
great, thanks. Great to have you again, your evening. And then Mr. Tim Vasco, who's the Chief Executive Officer of BlockCerts Blockchain.
Hi, Dan. Great to be here today.
Awesome. So I'm sharing my screen. I want to make sure that that I've got the right one open here with featured speakers in Singapore Fintech Festival. Is that what you guys can see?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, let's start off with that. We are kicking off the Singapore Fintech Festival, of which it's an absolutely gigantic, largest in the world fintech festival, obviously in Singapore. And all next week, we have live speakers that we will be talking with and taking part in the Fintech Festival. And Tim, you might just talk a little bit about the Fintech Festival, and also we were invited by the Canadian government to be in the Canadian Pavilion, which we're only one of 5 companies that was invited to be a part of that. So very exciting news there as well. So Tim, tell us a little bit about the Fintech Festival.
Yeah, well, the Singapore Fintech Festival is the largest fintech event in the world. So everybody and everything that's everything and everybody that's everybody is at the festival. You can see the CEO of BlackRock. Of course, Bill Gates was announced as the keynote, which is super exciting. Larry Fink, I think BlackRock CEO, manages somewhere around $7 trillion. And this is where everything's happening. I was there. We were there as BlockCerts last year in person, and we were there the year before. We've represented Oracle, the Canadian government. BlockCerts has been there. This will be our 3rd festival. This year, it's expected to be over 100,000 people attending and attending virtually from around the world. So it's really exciting, and it's ideal for the BlockCerts business model, which is building virtual businesses and virtual engagement and really driving access. To go to the festival, to have a booth, to see these big floor events and things was tens or hundreds, in some case millions of dollars just to get there and to display and present. Now we're able to use our BlockCerts platform, as we're doing right now, to stream digitally, to let people know what's happening in the world. And we're going to make some super exciting announcements. We're going to announce a few spoiler alerts and our speaker series, and we will be streaming all week next week. So exciting stuff coming up with some really, really brilliant speakers.
And what I love about this also is we're able to really showcase clients that are utilizing blockchain technology and our underlying technology, as well as tokenization. And so what I'm sharing here are our own speaker series that's going to be involved in this within the Canadian Pavilion. And for those that are joining us today, we will be posting this link up there, blockcerts.com/Singapore speakers. And if you go there, you can request access, just sign up, very easy to do. And the speakers, we're still coordinating schedules, etc. But you'll receive an email which will have all of the speakers. And this is an event that Singapore Fintech Festival that you have to register for and pay for. But in terms of our speaker series, you'll be, if you register here, you can attend our speaker series for free. And there are over 12 speakers that we have, and it's pretty exciting to see what companies are doing. And Daniele, we want to talk about some of the speakers that you have, but Tim, first off, just to talk about what you've worked on, along with Daniele and myself, et cetera, for about a year now. And
yeah, well, we're really excited that we're going to be bringing the head of the Digital Financial Services Observatory and his team, Dr. Leon Perlman, in from Columbia University, and the Gates Foundation sponsors this this project. It's a long project. It's the same age, interestingly, as BlockCerts, and BlockCerts has been chosen as the backbone to commercialize all the research that has been done for digital financial compliance and standards. So we're super excited to be part of the project, the Digital Financial Services Observatory project. We're super excited to bring BlockCerts and all the functions that we have behind that to launch globally into the new emerging digital economy. With that, we'll be introducing a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not going to announce today, but in my initial address next week on Monday, you will hear about what's happening in the world, the way that literally countries are coming together to reshape the entire capital markets, financial and fintech markets, and ecosystem, everything that drives us. And it's not a big surprise. We've talked about this. We've got trillion-dollar issues ahead of us with the pandemic, and we're super excited to be able to bring this foundational platform forward, starting with Singapore. So this is our launch event for a lot of stuff at BlockCerts, and how digital tokenization, things like that, will evolve to make that happen. Daniele will be talking about how we're doing that in the capital market space, what we're doing to create, as it says, brilliant digital businesses based on the foundations that BlockCerts has in it, and that we are pushing throughout the world, which is this idea of truth, trust, and transparency in every transaction. Right, Daniele?
Yes, absolutely. And even more, I think we're going to have also other guests, which are not mentioned right now, because we're uploading also some material into the backbone of the presentation layer. So obviously,
you haven't seen it since like minutes ago, so we've got almost everyone loaded here. So
yeah, we got also others that will join us there across the weekend. So this list is going to increase, actually, but we keep it as a surprise for people joining as of Monday our channels. So what is very important at the end for us is making sure that every key component of the ecosystem we're building, it's present into these streaming sessions. Okay, so obviously we're talking about the tokenization world, and we will extensively talk about the token world and how tokens are changing the way business models function. Okay, but also we want to have people from the field of the capital market, so investors, broker dealers, or the key players of this ecosystem that obviously are willing to embrace the new avenues of opportunities, exploiting the beauty of the so-called alternative digital assets, where we are deeply involved. So we're trying to do our best to cover all the pieces of this fantastic masterpiece, which is this digital capital marketplace, where we are trying to build something completely new. So,
and I think it's
Daniele,
exciting.
To me, it's fascinating the types of businesses that are built and growing and new. I'm just looking at the satellites for rent as an example. It's just fascinating, the things that are on here. And even last night, I was thinking about you. We made pasta, and it's a pasta that my wife gets directly from Italy. And then just because of Good Italia and what they're doing, knowing that what you are buying is direct from the source, and it's just kind of amazing, some of these businesses that are on here.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Dan. I don't have to say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Was it?
You stole my thunder, dude.
Uh-oh, bummer. Well, and I used a glass of, used some good wine that a friend of mine gave me. So, Tim.
Awesome.
I will keep it for last when we finish. So it's dinner time here.
Yeah. But it is exciting to see not only what we talk about, but what's actually happening in real delivery. Like when we say we're taking this above the cloud, literally, truly, we're taking it to space, and we're going to have a great Italian meal on the way up there. So, so it is very cool. It's unbelievable what is emerging out there and what can be done with this virtual digital world that we have. And that's what this is about. Fintech is the foundation of everything. It's how we get capital to innovate. It's how we transfer value. It's how we collect payments. It's how we manage wealth. And we've got a digital wealth creation management down there. It's how we do banking from our phones. It's all of these things. And we're so incredibly amazed every single day as people start coming on the Fusion Funder platform, and these new markets are reshaping. And guess what? It's not just the businesses. You're going to hear next week about emerging regulations. You're going to hear from our in-house counsel about how regulatory changes are happening at a pace that hasn't happened since the Great Depression in 1929 in the United States. Most of these acts are from the 1930s, and they're shifting right now. We have Chris Waiton, who is an expert in digital currencies, digital markets. Chris has been working here. He's so insightful. I learn something from him every single day that I talk to Chris. So we have so much to introduce at this, and we're just a microcosm of what the Fintech Festival is. I think the speakers at the overall festival and that roster, when you look at it, tells you how important everybody believes and knows fintech is to the future of our world. And I don't just mean in finance, I mean in everything from healthcare to what is going to be the next world from here. And I truly believe that Bill Gates and the people that are here, the president and chief executive officer of NASDAQ, the founder of the chief CEO of Boston Consulting Group, and the founder of Ethereum, and people like that would not be out here sharing their insights and opinions about this stuff if this wasn't truly the underpinning of what's going to bring us out of this pandemic and into a new world. And that's what excites me the most. So stay tuned and be part of this. Like, you're seeing history being made right now. BlockCerts is a big part of making sure that this foundation and this history is part of our model and exactly how we deliver it, the BlockCerts blockchain platform, internationally and globally.
And Tim, I think we have also to mention the fact that for the first time ever, we will extensively explain the mechanic behind the tokens, that we have built onto our platform. That's, it's not only for crypto geek, but it's also an in-depth session for people that want to truly understand how a token is coupled to a business model to create
that's a really good point.
Stakeholders.
That's a really good point. And in all the series we've had leading up to this in 2020, Daniela, you point out that, and I loved when you said that the biggest part of the crypto markets up to this point have been built on the ignorance of people actually understanding what's going on. And truly, with the true utility of our platform in people's hands, companies' hands right now, you're going to hear from one of the most exciting projects we've got going, LenderKey, and Hugo Reese, Vine Mortgage, which is a multi-billion-dollar project for reshaping the mortgage lending process, removing fraud, and removing risks for both the banks as well as the buyers, the mortgage applicants, something that affects us all in this multi-trillion-dollar universe. And all of that, backed by the mechanics of how that works, is going to be discussed and disclosed at the Fintech Festival. We're excited about that. A really good point, because these things are fundamental to what the future is going to be in the world from here.
Yeah, and Tim, one note about that is that each and every one of these has really elements of different business components that every business could learn from. So, what is happening with LenderKey is something that could be applied to any business, and what is happening with satellites for rent could also be applied to other businesses as well.
Good point, Dan. I mean that's what this is cool about our speaker series, and so important for everybody to realize is we're going from pasta to space.
Right.
We're going from wealth management to mortgages. Like, these are fundamental things that affect our lives. And we're going to talk about how this distribution of the vaccines are going to affect both our personal lives, but the future of our livelihoods. And so these idea of what we do with the three things I like to think about that really have brought us back to reality with what 2020 brought us with COVID, which was, what are the three things we've always learned about as we've grown up, no matter where we are in the world? Healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? So what we hope to do is bring you that wisdom. We will bring you wisdom. We will bring you the healthy kind of concepts of what it means to have your identity protected when you're dealing with your health records. And we all know how important health is now to our wealthy well-being, because this pandemic has wreaked havoc on the old way of doing things in the old economy. So healthy, wealthy, and wise is a reality. If we never recognized it before, it's true today more than ever.
It is, Tim. And even I wanted to mention Lionel and this application in their business as well, just because this is something that's critically important to Africa and to many different countries where there is unbanked and there many millions of people don't have an identity, and all kinds of different things that are being addressed with just the underlying components of the blockchain and how this works for every company. But I also wanted to mention WePlay, and Danielle, you might talk about this real quick.
Yeah,
right?
I think, and even let's say every of those businesses obviously has a core mission and has a product that is being launched or is going to be launched with a strong fit in the market where they're working on. But I'm very passionate about, on top of the core of what they're doing, is the how, meaning that every of those new tech-like companies, regardless of the industry where they are, they bring, and this is what is fascinating me the most, a brand new entrepreneurish style. So
Right.
I've never seen such a level of experimentation or innovation as opposite to my experience dealing with new companies, startups, young companies. Because, in the past, a few years ago, when I started also launching startups, there was kind of a copy-paste model coming from Silicon Valley. And I believe what is happening with COVID is kind of a discontinuation of what used to happen, to build something different by leveraging about three things. Still three, as Tim mentioned, but for me, those three things are, I call it the free what, the free where, and also the free who. At the end of the day, you can use a freemium model where you combine the what, the who, and the where, and you use technology to make it possible.
Right.
Good point.
The thing about this, and we look at our world, and we all look at the world from a different set of perspectives. I was thinking the other day about how we are all invited into each other's homes now with every meeting. And we think about this series. I was there, like I said, last year. It was expensive. It took a long time to fly there. Hotels, the venue itself is costly. And now we're bringing that segment, and we're bringing this to everybody for registering. Like, register here and you're in. To something that you would have only heard about if you heard about it from the other side of the world, maybe through a quick 10 or 15 minute announcement or a press release. You're actually going to be able to be involved in what's happening around the globe. You're also going to hear from experts, and you're going to hear about models that are being piped in to everybody's access point who has a connection. So that is kind of the fundamental of what's happening in the world now, where who could have attended, and Daniele and I were at the DFSO event he came from Italy, I came from Canada, and we were in New York City last February with DFSO. Like, again, very tough to get involved with a group that is at Columbia University, is dealing with the Gates Foundation and every regulator around the world, from the World Trade Organization to the FBI, and dealing in financial standards and things like that. You're going to be able to be part of that. And we're going to bring all of that into a world that has access. So this idea of access and payments, this idea of access to, as you said, Dan, food sources, this idea of access to satellite technology and being able to actually do something with a satellite, that's cool. But it's also incredibly important. But when you hear about how brilliant this idea is, how brilliant, and this is real. I want to point out to everybody, there's not a project that goes on Fusion Funder that isn't vetted before it gets there. We will not accept anything that doesn't have a fundamental foundation on the platform, that doesn't have a digital strategy for trust, truth, and transparency. It's important for the company. It's important for the scaling of a company, especially big ideas. And it's critical for anybody, whether it's a broker or an investor or somebody who's considering supporting this idea and this concept. That's what digitization and tokenization can do. Creating those three things creates an entirely new ecosystem, and it's not driven by, a great story or a great white paper. This is real stuff. I mean, real stuff. And I'm not going to steal Dennis's thunder on what they're doing because it is so amazing. But I am going to tell you, don't miss this event. Don't miss this stuff. You will learn so much. And if you open your mind and you take it away and you think, how am I going to participate in this next version of the ecosystem? This is where you're going to find out those ideas are going to be stimulated in your brains and in your businesses when you join this. It's going to be cool, and we're going to do this, and we're going to make some great ideas come out of it, and great business models evolve from here. And Dan, I think we should talk about, this isn't the last, this is the first of what we're doing, right, in
Correct.
this series. because coming up in January, we're going to be in Hong Kong. So we're repeating this with even more content and more innovation right after the holidays.
And more companies. And more companies.
Yes, exactly. So you're just only getting to be one of the founding followers of this exciting, evolving community. And we're rolling out so many cool things. I'm going to stop there. No more spoilers. You have to come and join us next week.
Well, and Tim, I'm going to just put a question out there, something that you brought up the other day, which is just brilliant. But how could one combine a mortgage process, a digital mortgage process, with satellites for rent? And I'll just put that out there, and we'll answer that question next week. But the applications between these, it's just it's fascinating to me how the applications flow from one to the other, and you'll be able to see that next week when you tune in.
And also next week, same time next week. After we do the event, it'll be 9:30. The event will be over by our World From Here next week. All of those questions, all those ideas, all those thoughts that can't come out of what's happening globally in the economy will be shown and discussed, and ideas for merging all of this into real business models for everybody are going to be discussed on A World From Here in a week. So big week next week. Join us for the launch. Join us for all this incredible thought leadership and real world leadership. Like, it takes guts to do this, guys. I respect every single person, every single organization that's on this page. It takes huge guts. It takes the guts to write a check and start digging in and build this for the world. People wouldn't be doing it if they didn't think it was going to be incredibly valuable.
Yeah, so those that are listening, thanks again for joining us. We wanted to make this a half an hour today, but definitely go to blockcerts.com/Singapore speakers and just scroll down to the request. Very easy to put in your information, click on register now, and you'll be registered. We're currently coordinating schedules from anywhere from the Seychelles to all over Europe, Canada, the US, all over the place. So you'll receive those in your email as they continue to come out between now and early next week. So definitely register for some of the events, if not all of them. They do apply to, in one form or another, to really everybody's business again. So thanks for joining us.
We should also point out, Dan, is because of time zones, we're going to be streaming 24/7. But if you're registered, you will be on the list. You will get our BlockCerts Buzz, which will come out multiple times to give you updates and links to visit and get in on these presentations if you're registered. Right?
Correct. Yep. Good. So thanks, Daniele, for joining us. And as you were talking, you're getting into the Christmas spirit, or your daughters are there. So
yeah, you see the light in the back, but yeah. So we are already in Christmas mode. But I told my wife, so first of all, Italy, it's kind of in a soft lockdown period. So no one is moving from region to region and city to city, especially across Christmas time. You can't move,
right?
So, and then you cannot meet with other people. So in any case, for us, we have a very, very tight agenda for what is coming. Not only Singapore, what is going to happen between Singapore and Hong Kong. We have a very, very challenging agenda, but we're so excited, especially for this Christmas, regardless of COVID. We're so excited to launch a lot of good stuff, and we're very happy to share with our community.
Great, thanks, Daniele. And Tim, you always lead us away from.
Well, we want everybody, especially this holiday season coming up, and the holiday season that we just celebrated in North America and in the United States, to stay safe, stay healthy, stay digital, and stay hopeful for the future. The digital future is here, so make sure you stay digital. It's really exciting to be able to be part of that. And 2021 is going to be amazing. We're going to close out 2020 with a lot of positive news. We've had a lot of the negatives. Let's focus on the positive and see where we go. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay digital, and stay tuned. We've got a lot coming up.
Sounds great. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, bye.